thanks for tuning in. This is the Pest and Lawn Ginja. Today, we're gonna go over crabgrass control. Believe it or not, a lot of you guys think you have crabgrass, but you probably don't. Let's check it out. So I was really fortunate to find this lawn. This lawn has a little bit of everything in it. You can see right here, we've got some less desirable grasses right next to each other. Traveling through the lawn, we've got more less desirable grasses, and it just keeps going. Again, the base of this lawn is a Kentucky bluegrass, but they've got these wide leaf grasses. Now, most everybody's gonna call and suggest that we get rid of their crabgrass. But interesting enough, a lot of this is crabgrass and a lot of it is not crabgrass. There's a big difference between controlling annual grasses and trying to control perennial grasses. So as a general rule of thumb, there's a couple of things that you guys need to understand. Number one, there's 3 different types of grass and weeds. You've got your annuals, your biennials, and your perennials. Now, the reason why it's important to understand the difference between these 3 is your annuals are the grasses and the weeds that can be controlled. You can also control biennial weeds. Now, your perennial grass is important to understand. It's the grass that you want. It's the grass that you want to live all year round. It has a season of dormancy, but not death. Where your annuals and your biennials will grow through the growing stage, and then they will either die or they will suck down and go dormant until the next season. One of my most infamous grasses that we get to hear about all the time. It's this bunching grass right here. The name of this grass is actually not crabgrass, it's called tall fescue. Now, it looks very similar to crabgrass, but there's a couple of differences. If we get really close and on top of this grass, you'll start to see the veins of this grass. Now, these grass veins are really coarse. It's always gonna have a flat, square top to it, and it bunches. And when you get into the root base, it's got about a 6 to 8 inch root to it. So you have to dig deep, and these roots can go really, really far. But one big tell sign is this node right here that you're dealing with tall fescue. You'll notice this node has a cupping shape around the stalk that does not go all the way around. It stops halfway through, and that's how you tell it's tall fescue. Now, tall fescue, per the name, and keep in mind there's about 50 different varieties, so I don't want you guys getting your panties in a bunch. Tall fescue versus crabgrass is broadleaf tall fescue. That's a bunching tall fescue. Grows tall, it grows vertical. It does not grow parallel to the ground. Now, coming up on this section, we have another species. This one is called Johnson grass. This grass is not as veiny as your tall fescue, so getting in on it, you'll notice that it's not quite the same, and it grows really, really tall. When we grab the base, you'll notice that the leaves are a little bit flatter, and they don't have that cupping node at the bottom. They just have a straight bunch at the bottom, and it grows out almost like a flower. So here we have another annual grass called Quack Grass. You can tell Quack Grass because it has these little nodes surrounding it. They go into almost a cupping shape around it, around the base, and it grows from the stalk all the way up. Again, this is another one of those grasses that is not treated, and it is a perennial. Now, as a homeowner, the easiest way that you're going to be able to spot an annual, biennial, or perennial grass is that your perennial grasses will grow and overwinter, where your annual and biennial grasses don't. So if you were seeing less desirable grasses between the months of November and May, or April, the end of April, you know you're gonna have to dig those out. There's no chemical control for those grasses. And that's gonna be the best way to do it besides hitting it with Roundup. Now, hitting it with Roundup's not bad, but I do like to stray away from it as much as possible, so it's best if you dig them out and just replace the soil. Now, both of these grasses are invasive. Unfortunately, both of them are also perennial grasses that have to be dug out, or you have to use a technique called sponging. Sponging is pretty simple. You're gonna get yourself a bucket of Roundup and some surfactant, and that's gonna help it stick to the leaves. You're gonna very gently grab a Q-tip or some sponges, and you're gonna lace the top 2 to 3 inches of the grass blade. Now hopefully over the course of about 10 days, that Roundup's gonna go up underneath and it's gonna travel down. You're not gonna have a lot of overkill. Now there are a couple of things that I gotta warn you with. Most people put it on too thick. You're gonna end up having the ring of death, and then you're gonna have to replace everything because the glyphosate does kill everything surrounding it. Johnson grass, orchard grass, and tall fescue are less desirable grasses. They grow through our lawns out in our region. Now, since we can't control those, a lot of people give up hope and they think that they can't control crabgrass. Well, my friends, here is Mr. Crabgrass. There's a couple of things that I want you to be aware of and want you to understand. This little spade at the very top is a really good indication you have crabgrass. Now crabgrass, and I really like this right here because you're gonna see it actually grows parallel to the ground off of a stem, almost like a stolon, but it also bunches in the middle. And it's really not that hard to control, but once it gets to be this big, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But you can see it grows parallel to the ground, not tall. And that's your biggest tell sign with crabgrass. When we get in on the leaves are silky smooth, and that's also another sign you have crabgrass. Herbicides can be a great way to control crabgrass. Now, it takes the right spray, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I kind of want to set your expectations. Now, when you spray for crabgrass, this isn't going to happen like the Roundup commercials want to make it look like. It's not going to disintegrate. It's not going to disappear. What's going to happen is, you can see here as I'm walking and showing you guys that the crabgrass is going to start turning different colors. It's going to go from yellow to brown and then finally to purple. Now once we reach that purple state, that means it's in the root ball and it will actually die. Now it doesn't mean it's going to disintegrate and disappear. You're still going to have to do your own hard work and actually dig it out. Now if I were to guess, this crabgrass would have been treated a couple of weeks ago. And as you can see, it's kind of turning all different colors of the rainbow. Once it starts reaching this purple color, you can trace it back and you can see it starts getting purple all the way down to the stem. Now that's a good sign that your herbicides were effective and they're actually doing what they're supposed to do, and that's controlling and killing crabgrass. Another effective control method for crabgrass is weather. Once the temperature reaches below freezing outside, crabgrass will naturally die. So if you're in the late fall, there's really no need to treat for it. If you're within 2 to 3 weeks to the first freeze, there's also really no need to spend the extra money. Controlling crabgrass is not too difficult. Your number one defense against crabgrass is getting a pre-emergent down before the ground temperatures are below 55 degrees. You're going to want to go to Bed Bath & Beyond or some sort of bargain shop or kitchen area and buy yourself a meat thermometer and measure those temperatures. Now if you're using Barricade or Prodiamine as the generic case, you can put that down over the winter to help give you best control, and then again early spring. Now Prodiamine, unlike Dithiopyr, does not break down until it gets hot. That's when the microbes come out and they eat it and get rid of it and redistribute it. Curative measures for crabgrass are actually pretty simple. You're going to need yourself some Quinclorac and some methylated seed oil. Now the methylated seed oil is the key, because if you don't have it, you're not going to kill the crabgrass. It doesn't stick to the plant well enough. And trust me when I say this, a lot of people new in the industry forget that methylated seed oil and it doesn't work. Now these two combined will save you a little bit of money. Now there are some products out there like Q4 by PBI Gordon, work really well. I just find that they take 3 to 5 weeks to kill the plant instead of 2 to 3 weeks. So if you want to save yourself some time, putting the active ingredients together yourself will do a much better job, in my opinion. If you want to go the extra mile in controlling crabgrass, my opinion on this is to add some pre-emergent to your tank while you're spraying the crabgrass. That way, if it's dropped seeds, it will help make it so the seeds don't germinate in the future. Now, if you're mid-season or beginning of the season, you're already getting crabgrass seed heads that are coming out, which is not super common, but does happen. It's going to stop those from growing. Okay, so I want to show you a little bit of a trick here. If you have crabgrass, like this little piece right here, that is still within the 3-leaf stage, you can still use a pre-emergent called Dithiopyr to act as a post-emerging and pre-emerging herbicide all in one. So if you catch your crabgrass early, you do not need to purchase the Quinclorac and the methylated seed oil to do the job. You can simply just use the Dithiopyr, which is your pre-emergent, to get proper control. All right, guys, just remember, if you guys want to control annual and biennial grasses with perennial properties, you're going to need to identify them properly first. If you keep treating perennial grasses with an annual chemical, it's not going to work. If you guys have any questions or concerns, hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out and like the video if you actually like it. Guys, I really appreciate you guys sharing my videos. Things are going well. We'll keep the good content up. Until next time, guys, Pest, Levelawn, Ginja. I'm out.